pride of Smithers, Dan Hamhuis, living the dream as the Canucks, even though they lost in a shootout tonight, still have gone 16 without a loss in regulation. I asked Kevin Bieksa earlier tonight, give me something on Hamhuis. What can I ask him? And he said, ask him about being the Brad Pitt of Smithers, because he's the best looking man from Smithers.
Oh, that's a nice compliment for Kevin.
And that's all you got to say about that.
Way to warm you up to a nice, easy yeah, that'll get him talking, Scott. Way to go.
Go ahead, Craig. Let's talk hockey for a second.
Well, yeah, let's talk about coming back to virtually your hometown here. I mean, what does it mean to you? I know you had a lot of options. You're in a rare situation where you actually got traded twice before free agency to try to get your rights. What made you come here to Vancouver?
Yeah, it was a unique situation this summer, and it was tough to make some decisions to say no to some teams, but we wanted to go to free agency. We wanted to see what was out there for us, and Vancouver had a lot of great things to offer, and you know, we liked the look of the team, and of course the city we were very familiar with. Really enjoyed coming here in the summers. I've been training here quite a bit through the summers and was familiar with the city. So, and you know, right now we're playing really well and it's working out.
How different is it though, going from a market in Nashville where I'm sure you could probably walk around and not a lot of people know what's going on in your business, to all of a sudden being under the microscope here?
Yeah, what was the first sign that you saw when you signed with the Canucks that told you your life as a hockey player would be different in this market?
Well, it was probably the day after I signed. We hosted a free agent party at our house, and in the past I had a lot of people that were just you know, fans of mine, and I think they're courtesy fans of Nashville, but true Canuck fans. And when I signed with the Canucks this summer, I had a lot of men hugging me, and
that's different, I guess.
After all, you're
really
the best looking man in Smithers. So. Listen, you had some great years in Nashville. I think you only missed the playoffs once there, but you've never in your career, I should imagine, experienced anything quite like the streak you're going through now. So here's a question for you from Jordan in Revelstoke. Have you ever been part of a team that has as much confidence as this team does right now?
Well, I think it was the 06-07 season, and that was a season we had Paul Kariya, and we traded for Peter Forsberg late in the season in Nashville. And we were on a great run there. I think it was this time of the season we were in first place, and we held first place for a couple months. And I see the same things that's going on in our dressing room right now, and that's just a confidence with the team that you know you're going to go into each game and you're going to win. And you know, sometimes just that feeling going into games gets you to win them.
But Dan, you talk about confidence. We know it's all different coming back here to play. A tough start for you. You were injured early on. It's tough to get into a new team and really prove yourself. How difficult mentally and physically even was it for you to start this season?
Yeah, it was a big change for me. It's the first time I've moved teams, and I wanted to make a good impression off the start. Unfortunately, I got injured just a few games into the season, and kind of bad timing. It's a time when the team really kind of comes together and gels. You know, missed a road trip, missed some games, and
this the injury, by the way, a shot block against Carolina, right?
It was a pretty innocent play. Just got my foot on the puck, hit my foot, and it was just in a bad spot. It's a bone bruise, and it kept me out a lot longer than I had thought.
And more than anything, you're trying to get into new teammates and prove yourself too, huh?
Yeah, but you know, it's a great group of guys here in the room, and they've made me feel comfortable both on and off the ice.
Let's talk hip checks. A couple of yours have got a lot of hits on YouTube, and I guess we can say that that's the way the success of most things are measured these days in the information highway. Consider the hip check to be a specialty of yours, and that one was against Douglas Murray, and that guy is as wide as he is tall.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and sometimes against those bigger guys, there's one against Buffalo, and it's tough to match him shoulder to shoulder, and it's a hit I think I kind of developed in junior. I was watching a Rock'em Sock'em video and seen a great hip check and was inspired by that and decided to try it. I think I tried it my second year at junior and got a great reaction from the crowd, and something I kind of developed through junior, and now in pro it's a little harder to do. Guys have their head up a lot, but you know, there's the odd chance to do it. Another player who's been greatly influenced by Don Cherry's Rock'em Sock'em. What did you think of Ballard's hip check on Drew Miller in the second period tonight? That was good. He great timing by Belly, and as he heard from the crowd, a great reaction, and you know, gets us fired up. Right.
Let's talk about the perfect fit here. You see this team now halfway through the season. They're coming on their best string. Do you feel real comfortable in your role now? You and Kevin Bieksa playing. You seem to have things coming together well with the style of game that they want to play for you here.
Yeah, you know, we talked about earlier that injury slowed things down a bit, but since I've come back from that, I've been feeling more and more comfortable all the time. And now with this role we're on, the team's playing very good. It's easy to be a part of it, and I think you know, playing with Kevin, it's I think we complement each other really well. He's you know, very physical, but he has offensive side, and also, you know, very defensively responsible. And you know, I think I'm similar in some ways and can contribute both ends of the ice, and I think you know, we're able to work well together out there.
Dan, Smithers is a bit of a hike, I guess we could say, from Vancouver. What is it, like a 12 or 13-hour drive, something like that?
Yeah, about 12, 13, depends on the road conditions.
And you never, as a kid, got to see the Canucks play in Vancouver, did you?
Never did. Never made it down to a game. But I think my first NHL game was when I was maybe 20 years old. I came down here for a Canuck playoff game.
Let's talk, well, as we look at the visuals here of Smithers, I think we should point out that in 07 and 08, I believe, it was one of the final towns on the Kraft Hockeyville list. So I'm sure you'd heard about that, and that would have meant a lot to Smithers, obviously.
Yeah,
that's where you played, was it?
Yeah, that's the arena my grandpa, my dad's dad, actually helped put that arena together. As an old airport hangar that they bought from Terrace, and they assembled it there. He was one of the guys up in the beams. But yeah, Smithers was, they really jumped on board with Hockeyville, did a great job. Kind of unfortunate they didn't win.
World Junior, Russia's stunning come-from-behind win over Canada this week, still a hot topic, and you, I'm guessing, can empathize in a way with Canada's juniors, given you played in 2 World Junior tournaments and didn't win either, a bronze and a silver, I think. Yeah. What was it, 02, you lost the gold medal to Russia, 5-4, and you also felt the pain of a loss to Russia in the 08 World Championships in Halifax. So do you empathize with how Canada's juniors feel right now?
Oh, I sure do. See that. I've been through that before. In the 02 World Juniors, we were up a couple goals a couple times and ended up losing the game 5-4. So it was that was a tough one to swallow. We played well, and then in the 08 World Championships, I think we were up, might have been up 3 goals going into the 3rd period there, and Kovalchuk ended up winning it on a 5-3.
Those would be similar circumstances.
So very similar. Russia again, and you know, I certainly know how those guys feel. There's a lot of pressure on Canadian players to win, and when you don't come through, it's gut-wrenching.
You think there's almost too much pressure on Canada's juniors now, given the enormity of that tournament?
I think the guys like it. You see how much passion they're playing with out there, and how excited they are scoring goals. But you know, you're not going to win them all, and unfortunately, there's going to be some disappointments along the way too.
I think that when you look in your dressing room, do you have a lot of bantering back and forth in that as well? You got some Swedes, you got some different guys with the World Juniors. Was there a lot of talk there?
Certainly with the Swedes, yeah. They were pretty excited when they beat Canada to send them to make them play in the quarterfinal. They're strutting around there for a while. We
were watching in overtime. 7 of the 8 players on the ice were all from Sweden, so it was definitely an influence there.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, pro athletes have a social conscience. We know that hockey players like to give back, but not many give back in the way that Dan Hamhuis does, and so we'll talk about that when we continue live on After Hours from the Rogers Arena in Vancouver. Back in Vancouver at the Rogers Arena as we continue with After Hours, and our guest, Dan Hamhuis of the Canucks. So, Dan, try this on for size.
We got Dan Hamhuis in the house. What's up, Dan? If you could add together all the time you spent tying and untying your skates, I'm sure you would come up with a pretty significant number. Well, I've developed a method to cut down on that. Check this out. Oh, snap!
You can do that, can't you?
I would like to. Yeah, I spend way too much time tying my skates.
That's the one thing you won't miss when you're retired, is having to bend down and do your skates.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, one of the biggest news stories 2010 clearly was the earthquake that devastated Haiti. Hockey players, as I mentioned, going to break, like to give back, but clearly hockey is not on the radar screen in Haiti yet. When you got the call from the Players Association to take part in a trip there with Georges Laraque, you said yes instantly. You didn't even think about it. So why did you agree to go, and agree to go so quickly?
Well, it's something that I've always wanted to do. I've wanted to go to a developing country and kind of experience that life there. And you know, I know that we live so well in North America. Just wanted to get a feel for, you know, how people live, and that was a very eye-opening trip for me. Seen a lot of destruction and seen some very, very difficult living situations there.
What kind of a shock? I mean, you just look at those pictures, and it's like nothing you experience here in North America. And how much does that transform your thinking, and how much of an impact have you able to bring back to not just you and your family, but maybe even your teammates too from it?
Yeah, it's so different from what we're used to here in Canada and North America. And just simple things that we take for granted here: smooth roads, you know, clean tap water, and good food to eat. Those are things that those people don't have. I mean, the roads are just a nightmare there. Driving around when we were getting transported, getting car sick all the time. But what really impressed me being in Haiti was the people, and they're very resilient, had a lot of pride about themselves. They carry themselves well. They're in clean pressed clothes all the time, which is something I was very surprised. I was getting my clothes dirty after a couple hours, and they weren't feeling sorry for themselves. They were working, doing their thing, talking, laughing with each other, and I was really impressed with the tough circumstances they had.
Dan Smithers played a role in your visit because you went to Oscar's Source for Sports on the main street of Smithers to purchase 20 soccer balls to take to Haiti with you. And what happened when you got there to the store?
Well, I went in there. I wanted to take some sports equipment down to the kids because they don't have any, and I've heard that they appreciate that stuff so much. So I went into the sports store in Smithers, and talking with Steve there, he owns the store, and I wanted to tell him what I was doing and see if I could buy some soccer balls off him. And before I even got into the soccer balls, I just told him about the trip. He offered up 20 soccer balls and pumps, so very gracious of him, and the kids just appreciated it so much down there. They're used to playing with tied up socks in the dirt, and when they seen the soccer balls, they were going crazy, and certainly very appreciative. Well,
look, anyone who knows about your work in Nashville in the community wouldn't be surprised that you so readily agreed to go to Haiti. Here's just part of the list: $20,000 donation to Teammates for Kids Foundation. You and your wife Sarah volunteered regularly at Rescue Mission. You regularly visited Ronald McDonald House, visited the kids at the Monroe Carroll Junior Children's Hospital, sometimes dressed as Winnie the Pooh, and sadly we couldn't find a picture of that. Most of this, though, on your own, outside official requests made for the team. So I'm getting the impression here, Dan, that we're not ever going to find pictures of you with your shirt off in a limo after a night at the Roxy, are we?
Well, let's hope not. No, it's something that's very important to my wife and I, and my family at home that I grew up with. Just giving back, and we've been so blessed with so many great things here, with the life we have, with the money and the time we have to help others, and we just want to help people that don't have that and give back as much as we can.
All right, quickly, here's a question from Brad Murdoch via Twitter. While you were in Nashville, as we say, you dressed up as Winnie the Pooh, went to a children's hospital. What do you have planned for the kids in Vancouver?
Well, hopefully we can do something like that. We've already had a visit to the children's hospital here, and it's just great to see the kids. It's such a fun thing to do. I think everybody in our team looks forward to that. That time in Nashville, we did a reverse trick-or-treat, and it was during Halloween. We dressed up as Winnie the Pooh, and it was such a neat experience. You don't even have to say anything to the kids. They just look at you and laugh, and it worked out well.
What kind of impact is having kids in your own family made to being on the ice, and the importance of just playing in family and balancing?
And we should point out that you and Sarah have a 10-month-old baby girl and a 2.5-month-old daughter, or 2.5-year-old daughter, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's I tell you what, doing those children's hospital visits are a lot different now. They're a lot harder to do, but it's so nice to leave what happens at the rink, and you go home and you see the kids, and all the worries from the rink go away. They're just happy to see you most days. Some days, some days they're not. But you know what? That's I got a great family and very blessed.
Hey, I sent a tweet out today saying that Dan Hamhuis makes me feel unworthy with the way he gives back. So please tweet me back to tell me how worthy I am. It's a joke, right? But some guy tweets back, Leafs something or other is his handle. I can't read it because it's kind of crude. But he says, Scott, you donated your hair long ago. What else can you give? Bad joke.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. It's great that you're giving back, not just on the ice, but off it as well. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on.